Republican on the Foreign Affairs Committee. Congressman, good morning to you. We await the president. First, your reaction to what we saw play out last night.
We expected and anticipated a response from Iran. 15 ballistic missiles, a very bold response. I do find it interesting that they were so off target. There are no casualties in this response. And so, we'll wait and see. I think the president is, again, not interested in starting a war, but he had to respond to Soleimani. That attack was imminent by Soleimani. He's meeting with his counterpart in Iraq. And I think, as General Milley said, it would be culpably negligent if the president did not act. And let's remember who Soleimani is. He's not a household name, but for the last 2 decades, he has been the mastermind of terror in the Middle East. And as Jay Johnson, former Obama Secretary of Homeland and legal counsel authorizing these strikes, he was a legitimate military objective.
Sir, you said a lot there. You also said Soleimani was going to act in an imminent way. Characterize that better for us. Days, weeks, what was his intent? You've been privy to some of these briefings.
Yeah, I got briefed by the National Security Advisor after the strikes, the Vice President, State Department. We believe, I can't get into the classified nature, that's going to happen at 1 o'clock today with the other members. But we, based upon the evidence I have, when Milley says it's clear and unambiguous, when the National Security Advisor O'Brien says 100% certainty, and you look at you look at what happened since last October. All the strikes have taken place, and the president seemed to have this, I wouldn't say red line, but if they kill Americans, I'm going to have to respond. And I do think if you look at the mounting weight of evidence since October, the president showed great restraint, Bill. I was in the White House when the UAV was shot down by Iran and saw the president saying, backing off of that, showing restraint, saying, I'm not going to attack this drone because I don't want to start a war in the Middle East. I think with Soleimani in our target, in our bullseye, we had to take him out.
Well, that's the point that General Keane continues to make. Congressman, going back to the imminent nature of the attack, Mark Esper went on the record yesterday when asked about that, saying that he believes it was days away from an attack. I want to ask you, though, about the advanced nature, the warning that the United States received of the attack last night, because per our own reporting from the Pentagon officials say that there was advanced warning of the missile attack. That's the reason why Mark Esper then held that hasty news conference at 2 o'clock yesterday afternoon. He wanted to offer Iran an off-ramp, talks without preconditions. That was Esper to reporters. What more can you add to that?
Well, I think the Iranians are playing it both ways. They want to sort of appease their base in the country to show that they took action, while at the same time not fire with great casualties. And I think so in a way that's how the Iranians play ball. And so I think if I had to, and it's a little bit of speculation, but if there was some advance notice, we know that, and the fact that they gave advance notice that there are no casualties, and the propaganda inside Iran is huge that there were a lot of casualties, and they're trying to galvanize their people behind them. Majority of Iranians don't support the Ayatollah.
We have been talking quite a bit about this, Foreign Minister Zarif, and the tweet he sent last night, a bit about 12 hours ago. Just put it on screen so our viewers get a chance to see it. The language is very important here, as you well know, sir. Iran took and concluded proportionate measures. I think that line is very important. In self-defense under Article 51 UN Charter, targeting base from which cowardly armed attack against our citizens and senior officials were launched. We do not seek escalation or war, but will defend ourselves against any aggression. The message in there seems to be quite clear.
Yeah, I think, look, this is where diplomacy could come into play. I do think the president doesn't want to escalate this tension, if you will, and I think that's what you're going to hear in the next, several minutes.
And from that wording, they do not want to go there either. Would you agree?
And I think that's correct. And we do have channels through the Swiss government to communicate with the Iranians. I would encourage that route. to de-escalate this and not escalate it.
All right, and quickly, your thoughts ahead of hearing from the president, what you suggest his purpose, tone, and wording will be from the White House moments from now.
I think he should be very solemn. I think he should address what a threat Soleimani was. He killed hundreds of Americans, thousands in Syria. He was a mass murderer. That was clearly justified under Article 2 of the Constitution. And the idea that the Pelosi wants to bring up this war powers resolution, at this point in time, we need to be united as Americans, not divided. I remember when bin Laden was killed, and we as Republicans rallied as Americans with the Democrats, saying what a great victory that was. General Petraeus said this was the equivalent of bin Laden in Iran.
All right. Congressman Michael McCaul, appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for your time today, and we'll talk again real soon, okay?